Hey everyone, it's Nathan Orenstein with The No Show, here to talk about Pieces of a Woman. Pieces of a Woman is written by Kata, directed by Kornel Mundruczo, and stars Vanessa, Kirby, Shia, LaBeouf, and Burstyn. It is currently available to stream on Netflix. Pieces of a Woman is about a woman whose baby tragically dies during a failed home birth and the brutal emotional turmoil that follows. The relationship she has with her family and her boyfriend start to crumble, and she's also thrust into a lawsuit against the midwife that failed to successfully deliver her baby. The film essentially opens with a 30-minute one-shot take, starting with Martha, played by Vanessa Kirby, going to labor and her boyfriend Sean, played by Shia LaBeouf, helping her out. The contractions get worse, the midwife is called, and she eventually delivers the baby, all in one continuous shot. It's an incredible display of filmmaking and an exhausting introduction to an exhausting film. Vanessa Kirby's performance is fantastic right from the start, and this scene doesn't even capture the full range of her performance throughout this film. Shia's performance gets the job done, but it's clear from the start that Kirby is going to be stealing the show here. Unfortunately, this is undoubtedly the best scene in Pieces of a Woman, and things inevitably do go downhill a bit from here. For the most part, Mundruczo's skills as a filmmaker and the strengths of these performances are on display in every scene. The problem is that the narrative just isn't super strong or well connected, so these scenes often kind of just feel like individual scenes. There's a clear beginning and end to this story, but the middle kind of feels directionless and often meanders along. There's definitely development happening here, both narratively and character-wise, but it's never really enough to fully sink its teeth in. The story is told over different days, usually split up by a few weeks or so, but I often found it hard to believe that entire weeks had passed by in some of these situations. The development just didn't match the timeline of the film. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I understand the horrendous emotional toll that going through something like this takes, but I'm also just not buying the narrative structure that this film decides to take. Luckily, as I said earlier, the scenes in this movie are usually pretty good, with some hitting some incredible heights. I already mentioned the birth scene, but there are a few other scenes that really prove why this is a movie that demands to be watched. Vanessa Kirby clearly went through hell for this role, and she is the lifeblood of every single scene she is in, which fortunately is most of them. Her performance captures the extremes of the emotional spectrum with everything in between, and she displays them in a really believable way. Shia's character faces his own hardships too, but I was never able to fully buy his performance as much as I would have liked to. Burstyn plays Martha's mother, and she basically gives the performance you would expect from Burstyn, but that's a good thing, don't get me wrong. The rest of the cast is passable, nothing exciting, but it's really the emotion in every character interaction that really drives this film and makes it interesting. The cinematography and the color palette really add to the whole despondent nature of this film as well. The score often feels like it's trying a bit too hard, along with some of the imagery, unfortunately, but they do both add depth to the emotions here for sure. Pieces of a Woman is a movie that shows signs of masterpiece quality, but unfortunately it just can't carry that for any more than a single scene at a time. Vanessa Kirby's performance is fantastic throughout the entire film, but the narrative structure of the movie just doesn't do that performance much justice. It's still an emotionally intense movie with a handful of really great scenes, but the writing dips down in the middle pretty considerably and it holds it back from greatness. I still think Pieces of a Woman is a good movie though, and I'm going to be giving it a 7 out of 10. If you enjoyed the review, then feel free to like and subscribe if you're new. And if you've seen Pieces of a Woman already, then I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. I've been Nathan Orenstein with The No Show. Thanks for watching.